It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way that things will really go with Sandra. Some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the men, and soon you will be a friend of Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. Every day, everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day, everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day, everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, beautiful folks. How is everybody doing? Happy Thursday. Unbelievable, but this week is literally just flying by. I hope that you guys had a good evening and everyone is doing well. We had a very interesting conversation yesterday. I saw some of you after the show kind of send your comments. Try to remember that, if you have a contribution that you'd like to make it during the show, because then that way we can share it. Of course, then we lose a little window of opportunity in terms of your comments. But we have one or two more trickling in. So we'll give you guys a little bit of an update. So first of all, happy Thursday. I think I said that already. Good morning to everyone. And I hope you guys are doing well. So yesterday's discussion, I really hope the takeaway is that, listen, we have some areas of grave concern. This is in relation now to the Health Services Authority. We have some areas of grave concern that it's evident, beyond evident, that we really need to fix. And our focus should be on fixing those. We have to be willing to put aside, our likes or dislikes of individuals. If people are speaking the truth, then we have to acknowledge that truth, and we have to be willing to address the issues that are highlighted in a fair, balanced, and, quite frankly, impartial manner. And impartiality goes both ways. It's not just the people that you don't like that you need to be impartial with. You need to be impartial with the people that you do like as well. Because quite frankly, I think a lot of us are blinded by the fact that we like someone. And so that means that they can't do any wrong. Well, I had an opportunity yesterday to sit down with a government minister, and we were talking about this in general terms about, it doesn't come down to whether somebody is likable. You've got people in jobs who, yeah, they're nice enough people. We're not going to say that they're not nice people, but it isn't about that. Being a nice person doesn't qualify you for running a department or running a government agency. There is, quite frankly, criteria. And when it comes to a leadership role, you may even be lucky enough to have certain competencies in the position. But if you're not a real leader and you just, for whatever reason, can't get stuff done, well, honey child, what do you want me to say except it's time to go? Give me one quick second. I see your show phone is a little bit low on the charge, so I am going to get that all fired up.
Infrastructure is more than roads and buildings. It's our lifeline.
From pioneers who paved the first paths to today's crews and engineers who keep us going.
They power hospitals, connect families, and help us after natural disasters.
Let's honor the people behind Cayman's progress.
Nominate someone who built or maintained our Cayman Islands.
At gov.ky/YSCH. Click Nominate today.
The Ministry of Youth, Sports, Culture and Heritage is pleased to announce that the nominations for the 2026 National Recognition Awards are now open. Nominate individuals and groups who played a key role in developing the Cayman Islands' physical infrastructure. The categories include landmark leaders, infrastructure innovators, and the builders of Cayman. Visit gov.ky/YSCH. Click on the Nominate button to make a nomination. Here is a step-by-step guide to fill out the form. Before starting, please read the instructions, the award categories, and the eligibility criteria. Step 1. Enter your personal information and select the award category for the person or group you are nominating. Click Yes to confirm that your nominee meets the criteria. Step 2. Enter the nominee's full name, date of birth, and district. Indicate their current status, whether living or deceased, and ensure you have the current contact information for your nominee and their next of kin. Fill out the submission detail and provide any supporting documents and a reference to support your nomination. Step 3. Review your submission and make any changes by clicking the previous button. When you are ready, confirm and agree to the terms and click Submit Form to make your nomination. A thank you notice will confirm that the nomination was received, and a copy of the application will be sent to your email. Your nomination will be reviewed and considered by the National Recognition Awards Committee, and only successful nominees will be contacted and recognized at next year's National Heroes Day ceremony. The deadline to make a nomination is October 15. Remember, you can submit multiple nominations or browse our frequently asked questions by visiting the National Recognition Awards tab at gov.ky/YSCH. We look forward to receiving your nomination.
Infrastructure is more than roads and buildings.
It's our lifelines connecting East End to West Bay, Cayman to Little Cayman, and the Cayman Islands to the world.
It established the route to get our children to school, keep our hospitals powered, and support our businesses every day.
Through hard work, ingenuity, and perseverance, people make that happen.
From the early pioneers who paved the first paths and laid the first pipes,
to the innovators who modernize water, energy, telecoms, ports, and our airport.
they're the quiet hands that build resilience.
And the vision that keeps Cayman going strong.
Now it's our turn to recognize them. Know someone who built, maintained, or improved the Cayman Islands we love?
Nominate them today at gov.ky/YSCH. Click Nominate today.
So, folks, just a reminder that the deadline for the National Recognition Awards is coming up on the 15th. That's next week, as far as my calendar says. So, if you haven't yet made your relevant submissions, the time is coming near, as they say. So, that's next week, Wednesday. So, get your submissions in, get your relevant documentation. It might take you a little bit longer to put stuff together. If you've been thinking about that person who's made a meaningful contribution to infrastructure, go ahead and nominate them. You never know. And important for people to get recognized for the contributions that they have made to the building of this country. And there are different categories that you can get people nominated for, as well as organizations. So go check that out and get it done, honey child. So yes, I was saying that, a lot of us feel a way if we like someone, we're not quite sure how to how to navigate the fact that likability is okay, but it certainly does not make you competent, and it certainly does not make you qualified in a leadership position to get the job done. And we can't operate based on nice people syndrome. A lot of you were listening, and there were some of you who went back and listened after the show, and you came back with some feedback. And I thought to myself that it was interesting how, unfortunately, we really hit the nail on the head in relation to a lot of the complaints that we had been receiving in relation to Ms. Charmaine. And I'm not here to pick on her, but I'm here to bring the people's concern to the table. Because once again, there are people who went away and said, "Oh, Miss Sandy, here's what I have to say." Up to in the afternoon, I was still receiving messages about her. So when I say to you that this is certainly years now of complaints, this is not an isolated incident. I think that, it's unfortunate that management at the HSA, and I don't know why, but management has been incapable of doing anything about the situation. You can't have someone who, whatever her position is, I mean, somebody said yesterday she's in finance. I don't even know how she could be in finance and impact so many people's lives. I'm like, what kind of position does she have in finance? I'm a little bit confused here. I thought for sure she was in HR, because then she has interaction with a lot of people, and she can make people go and come and that sort of thing. How is she in finance and still able to impact 20 plus lives in terms of them leaving Health Services Authority? I need someone to give me details of how exactly that has been done, because I got to tell you, I'm really confused. How is she making so many people leave? Anyway, I'm going to read you another comment that came in after the show ended into the afternoon. And like I said, I would encourage you to send these during the show. Maybe this person didn't get an opportunity to listen, though, and they had to reflect on their thoughts. But they said, "Good afternoon, Sandy. As I know the public mentioned Charmaine, I'd like to put my word in on her as well. She is beyond a wicked individual. Staff are leaving and staff are quitting left, right, and center at HSA registration department because of Ms. Moss. The previous supervisor that left because of her behavior. She is full of expletive. And no matter how much staff complain, nothing is done. Everybody on the HSA ground knows Charmaine Moss is a wicked woman. From the doctors themselves, you name it, everybody knows. But like I said, absolutely nothing is done. I hope you can try your magic and will get done to remove Ms. Charmaine Moss from the HSA." Listen, So she is manager of patient services. Oh, that makes more sense. Because somebody said yesterday she is something with finance. And I was like, huh? Finance? I mean, unless she's like the finance manager and all these people are under her. So someone says she is in finance, registration manager. She's not in HR. Okay. So yeah, I see now. So she is the manager of patient services. And then I guess she has, different areas that fall under her, including the registration department. That makes a little bit more sense. But nonetheless, I think that you guys need to be more specific. Let me tell you what you now need to do. Okay. If you have ever been impacted by Charmaine, saying that she's a wicked woman to me is not the level of detail that I need. In other words, it's not enough. People can describe, everybody describing her as a wicked woman. I get it, but I need details. I need to know what specifically is she doing to staff. On such and such a date, this happened, and this is what the response was. That's what I need to know. Not just that she's a wicked woman. I mean, yes, she might be wicked, but what does that mean? Right? So you know how when I did the expose on the Cayman Islands Tourism Attraction Board, I can talk about the specifics, mold, financial stuff, inappropriate relationships. I need details. Don't tell me that everybody knows that she's wicked. I mean, yes, the doctors know, the staff know. What does that mean? We got one over at court office too that I'm soon going to be addressing. Not for nothing, but both of them originally from Jamaica and have come here and have had a really illustrious career on the backs of the people of the Cayman Islands, been given amazing opportunities that they probably would not have gotten in their own country, and then come here and treat people, including their own Jamaicans and others, like, less than human. We're going to go there. So let me see. Someone's responding. And okay, let's see here. Right. So this person says, it seems like she's giving some people a hard time, but I think some of them are to blame as well. As you know, you can't hold some of these people accountable for anything, but there are lots of complaints. I think it's the way that she talks to people. Okay. Well, I need to know exactly, what does she say? Is she cursing at you guys? Is she just like disrespectful? Because some things are harder to deal with than others. You guys are telling me she's a bee on wheels. I'm hearing you, but I need examples. I need you guys to step forward and give me specifics of exactly what what is she saying? How is she saying it? I heard that she's made threats that, basically she's going to get rid of everybody and then bring in her own people. Well, I don't know who her own people are supposed to be, but I want her to not confuse it. She must mean Caymanians, I sure hope. And so, has HR received these complaints, and are they truly falling on deaf ears? Have they not sent her to, I don't know, some kind of communication course? How to be more sensitive, how to be more intuitive, how to, I think though, the one observation that I will make, when you've had this many people complain under a single leader and they've left and whatever, maybe you just have to come to the conclusion that whatever it is about her, again, leadership comes down to being able to work with other people. You're not there to be a slave master and tell people off and, make them feel horrible at work. You have to work along with them. And so, quite frankly, if she's not able to do that for whatever reason, management should really be looking at replacing her. Maybe she's just not good in a supervisory role or a forward-facing role. Like maybe you put her in finance, where she's just looking at numbers all day and she's in the back of an office and it's just her and the computer. There should be a no tolerance policy. We've talked about this even as it relates to the CI, Cayman Islands Tourism Attraction Authority, CINAA. We've talked about what the public management law says about the harassing of staff. And so, that's never, you're not supposed to harass staff. I don't know why y'all think that this is okay. Get me some details, folks. We need some details to fully understand this. So somebody says, hi, Sandy, patient services usually falls under finance in most hospitals with accountability ultimately to the chief financial officer. All right. I'm looking forward to your messages so that I can hear exactly what y'all are talking about. The petition that was submitted to the HSA, please, by all means, let me have a copy of that. And, we'll try to get that sorted out because I think the petition hopefully had more details. But it's interesting that even a petition was submitted. So the HSA had a meeting yesterday. Mm-hmm. I'm told that this was an emergency meeting. They had a huge staff meeting in the hibiscus room or whatever it's called. Yes, NHL. And I don't know. I mean, not for nothing, but it didn't seem like this meeting was planned before yesterday's show. But all of a sudden they decided to have a meeting. It's a little bit weird. One person made the following observation. I heard the CEO was like, nothing ever happened. All they're trying to do is shut people up. Well, she didn't make any threats. She's smarter than that. Thank God. She's obviously not Patrick's cousin. So I'm not even sure what the point of the meeting was, because people who went were like, yeah, there was a meeting, but we don't even know. It wasn't anything urgent. We're not sure. And that she walked out after an hour talking about paying instead of time in lieu of and vacation. You had to call a quick staff meeting because you needed to talk about time in lieu of and vacation. That's an email, honey chow. You see what I'm talking about when I talk about, you guys ain't got no leadership skills. So they're gonna pay people instead of giving them time in lieu of and vacation. That does not require an emergency staff meeting under no circumstances. Colin Medford from the pharmacy, he was head of pharmacy, right? I understand that he was finally fired yesterday. Mm-hmm. Chips are falling, honey child. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't even see the point of that meeting. So that was at 3 p.m. And yeah, okay, there you go. Okie dokie. So let me see here. Good morning. KK says she grinds the top boss. It's nothing to be done. Who? Everywhere she go, people leave. Disgusting. We talking about court office, not court office. HSA. Well, the top. I mean, not for nothing, but she can't be grinding Samantha, her HR manager. And everybody says that the real problem is her and Sam, who's the HR manager, are a little bit too tight. And so Sam is not able to probably see the forest for the trees kind of vibe. I get how small Cayman is. And I think when you work with people, you do develop relationships with your coworkers. Yeah, you can be friendly with your coworkers. I think being friends with them can sometimes be dangerous, especially if you are in a management position. Like you're right over them. I would say keep your distance and don't be too friendly. But sources reveal that her and Sam are extremely close. And so even if it isn't the case that Sam is being, let's say Sam just hasn't received any complaints that have, warranted her being reprimanded or terminated or whatever, the very look of it, the problem is because of the nature of their relationship, you know, it is going to look away, right? And remember now, it's not just about justice being, or I forget what the exact quote is, being seen to be done, but even the perception of it being done is important. So perception is very, very important. So I see the comment section starting to light up here. Let's read a few more comments this morning. This person has said, good morning, Mrs. Hale. Happy Thursday to you and the listening audience. Is this Charmaine Moss the same person that was removed from police and under investigation relating to the Jeffrey Webb, CONCACAF, FIFA scandal? If so, then why is she now in another government department? Well, let me explain this to be fair. Yes, she is. I think yesterday we, there's some questions about who she is. Caymanians, we want to know. So, she's worked in a number of government departments. And needless to say, she was arrested and she was charged in the care pay. And I think it was not care pay. Was it the care pay one or the, no, it was the original CIFA one. It was, they kind of melted together because Canova was connected to both, but they're actually separate cases, right? Let me just open up my little CMR website here. And I can, because we actually broke the story that she was arrested. Yes, this was the November of 2019. RCAPS business manager suspended after CONCACAF criminal allegations. So I'll put the story up here for you guys to refresh your memory, but she was actually vindicated. So I want to be very clear here. We have to make sure we're getting our facts straight. She was found not guilty. Now, at the time that she was found not guilty, there was a reporting restriction in place. So the media couldn't report on her not guilty verdict. The court put that in place because of the fact that there was the attached case with Canova Watson and Bruce Blake. So we were not permitted to report on it at the time. And I think that's why a lot of people are not really aware of how this ended. So she was charged back in December of 2019. So she was arrested, she was charged, and then she had her first appearance in January. And I'd have to go back and see when the trial was. But like I said, we couldn't report at the time the outcome of her trial because of these other pending cases. And the court did not want it to, as jury cases, to potentially impact a future jury. So she was at the time the RCIPS business manager, and she was placed on required leave. Now, she was found not guilty, and I don't know then, under what circumstances she left the police, because technically, if you found not guilty, they should be putting you back in your job. But she did not stay in her job. And then, to the best of my knowledge, after that, she actually moved on to HSA. So she's been at HSA now for probably about 4 years or so. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it is her. And I think most people know that she had some kind of relationship with, was it Jeff or Canova that she was in relations with? I think it was Jeff. And that was her connection to this whole thing. As his girlfriend, he was giving her, the allegation is that he was giving her certain criminal proceeds to then handle on his behalf. So, financial activities between 2012 and 2014 is what she was, arrested for and charged with. So, yeah, Charmaine Moss. One count of conspiracy to defraud CONCACAF, but she got away. Canova wasn't so lucky. And I'm trying to think, did she ever work for Jeff or Canova. I can't remember. Did she work in the office? You know, these guys, I can't keep up with them, child, because they be having so many girlfriends and stuff when they have a little bit of money. The money flows, and so does the women. Someone say, you know, it's Sheila Thomas that's protecting her. Who's Sheila Thomas? She's the CFO who needs 2 deputy CFOs to do her work because she don't do ish. Oops. What a mess. Well, I don't even know who the heck is Sheila Thomas? Is that a Caymanian? Oh, what a hot mess. Well, I heard that over 30 people, says this person, have left because of Moss. I have 5 names of the clique at HSA hearing the exit interviews aren't even conducted properly. Wow. Another person says, good morning. I had a mother call me last year regarding her young Caymanian son that this Charmaine was trying to get fired. Lord Jesus. Someone's asking what's going on with the botanical and Patrick Thompson situation. I can tell you that as the civil service go, you know that there's certain protocols in place. Things are afoot, is what I can tell you. They have to verify everything. They have to do their proper investigations and put their case together. And my sources have revealed that all of that is being done. So we got to give them a little bit of time now to see what happens. Another person says, good morning, Sandy. HSA is the worst government statutory to work in. Ms. Moss is a passive-aggressive individual. It's the way that she speaks with people, including her current supervisors. So she speaks to her own supervisors the way and they take it. I know y'all not easy. Many registration officers go their entire shift without getting a lunch break. And when they mention this, they then are said not to be a team player. Y'all better get that that labor law, although it doesn't apply to statutory authorities, you're still entitled to certain minimums. And come on now. The person continues. Registration officers are run ragged between the different departments, and it's affecting their physical and mental well-being. For anyone considering going to work with the HSA, please be warned. It is definitely not what they make it out to be at all. Yikes. And you know, once an organization starts to get a reputation like this, what you have happening is good people, good workers, are not going to want to go there. So you're going to get all of the fifth chances people, not even the second chances. You're going to be getting fifth chances people trying to apply, or lots of expats, because, you know, they might not know what Charmaine is all about. And sometimes they're a little bit more desperate for a position. So they'll go in there and put up with a whole lot more than Caymanians are willing to put up with. Oh boy, this is not good. So it seems like what it is, it's more her management style than anything else. And not knowing how to treat people, but I'm concerned that you say to me that another big issue is the fact that she is, you know, denying people their legal rights in terms of breaks and stuff like that. You can't make somebody work without a break, without getting a lunch break and so on. And there's no system in place where HR is checking to verify that people are getting their respective breaks. I mean, to me, that is shameful if that is actually the case, because they should be able to independently verify whether or not that is actually happening. What a hot mess. Let me see here. We got another comment here. This person says, Good morning, Sandy. Regarding Lizette, how did she move from a nurse to CEO? Plus, now got Dr. Douglas as the deputy CEO. He was an emergency doctor. But Lizette really need to get her act together. She's very good at delegating and never tries to get anything sorted. I'm going to disagree with you on this one. Listen, I really do my best to be impartial. I know this is your experience and this is certainly your opinion. Let me just say that the times that I have contacted her, which have been a number of times, I mean, there was like an emergency suicide situation years ago. There have been, something with a pregnant lady. She was about to lose her baby. There have been times when I have had to reach out to Lizette on behalf of others, and she was very responsive. But I also recognize that for most people, when I reach out, they tend to be responsive. So I get it. Like I'm probably not the best person to say, well, this is my experience. Because if someone knows who I am, they tend to be very, very responsive. So no doubt I would have been getting a different treatment than her, than you or other people. But I found her to be extremely responsive, even sorting out the water cooler. But my thing is, how are those things falling through I don't understand that part. How did she go from being a nurse to CEO? I don't know. I mean, obviously she was there forever, but she has a master's degree in something. But what experience? I mean, was she like supervisor of something in nursing? Like, I don't know. Certainly you don't have to be, I think, in the medical profession to run a hospital, but I do think that probably 97% of the cases it makes sense if you are, because there's certain intricate things specific to the hospital environment that it would make sense if you had hospital management experience and so on. And so you can understand things going in, and there are a lot of things that you don't have to learn. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how the ascent in her profession exactly happened, but it happened. And so here we are now saying that, she's been in the CEO position for quite some time, and the number of complaints that are being received and levied against her, I think, are problematic. The other thing that is problematic is if you listened very, very closely to what former Minister of Health and Wellness said yesterday, she basically said, listen, you all got to go back and hit that rewind button. She basically said that she had the opportunity to sit down with Lizette. She didn't call her by name, but she said management. And I know it's Lizette. I mean, she was just trying to be, this is where, girl, I keep saying to Sabrina, stop trying to be PC. You know what I'm saying? Even though she's being more direct now than when she was in there, I think it's just the way that Sabrina talks. She's just mild. Like, call out names, girl. Be like, listen, on such and such a date, Lizette was in my office. We were talking about COVID, and I was asking her this, and this. And that girl, she lied to my face because this is what she said. And that wasn't the case. Give us all the details. People need to know. Because you still got people in the comments like, oh, I don't know about Sabrina, why she didn't speak up before. And no, I'm not sure. I think a lot came out yesterday that had my jaw dropping open. But if she would just be more direct and tell you exactly why she said that people had the audacity to sit in front of her and lie to her face as minister, she was asking them questions and they were lying to her, and that she knows of instances of them lying to the board, then you would understand where the problem really lies. To me, lying alone should be a reason for termination when you're head of a government agency, department, SAGC, whatever. Somebody said the CFO knows nothing. She needs help. Again, we putting people in these positions. Another person says the organization needs to be investigated and management overhauled. On a serious note, have a good day. And that now is the board's responsibility. They should be doing some serious audits in there. And, some of them I know listen to the program, and they're getting offended every time, a conversation comes up about HSA. What are you getting offended for? How about you just fix it? Fix the problem. And I don't know how long y'all gonna take to try and fix a problem. Miss Sue says so many Caymanians are suffering now with losing everything, their jobs, homes. The younger people don't stand a chance to find jobs nowhere, to take a shower, to look good for an interview. It is so sad, really. We need a place here for families to go when they need help, a soup kitchen to start. Well, they have a place to go, and it is formerly NAU, now called, I can't remember their new name ever, financial something. They got a new fancy name, but I'm going to still refer to them as NAU. Hundreds of families, Miss Sue, are going to NAU and quite frankly, hemorrhaging the government. Now, I do want to talk about this because this homelessness issue is something we were supposed to discuss yesterday, and I do want to get there today as well. Scott B says it would be absolutely hilarious if this woman is just trying to hold staff accountable and correct dysfunctional behaviors, and the culture of slackness is upset. Well, you know, that's why, Scott, I have said to people, give me details of what you mean. Now, I would find it hard to believe that every single person that they hire, because listen, people are saying as soon as they hire someone in registrations, they leave soon after. Every single person that they hire is part of this culture of slackness. That means that there's something wrong with their hiring. And then we need to look at HR, because she's already exhausted most of the staff that was there. They've left. Okay. So by just looking at the numbers, she's already eradicated. If that was the thinking, Scott, if that was what was really going on here, as I think this through, she has already eradicated the culture of slackness and all the people who would have been there as part of that in her department. Why does she continue to hemorrhage staff and people come and go, come and stay for a few minutes? They can't stay for long because of her. I don't think that's a culture of slackness. I think that's a culture of chaos. And if she is central to that chaos, then maybe that's the issue. Sarah Monique says Charmaine has a strong personality, but she's a consummate professional. I've heard most of the complaints are from non-performers. Unfortunately, that's the level of many government employees. So again, you know, thank you, Sarah, for this comment. However, you had 20 plus, almost 30 people in your registration department that were all non-performers. I find it hard to believe. And financial, I guess the financial department, whatever. I don't know. I would find that extremely difficult to believe. Thank you. It is the Department of Financial Assistance. I got to remember that now. It's a whole new department. The radio has gone down. Really? Why? Okay, let me see. My connection here is still up. Oh, Lord. Let me message the radio folks, because I haven't done anything different. So I don't know. Let me just message Dave. It might be some connection thing on their end. I don't know. All right. Yep. Quite a few people saying radio is down, honey chill. Okay. Let me see here. So yes, I mean, I hear you and I get what you're saying. Someone's like, are you playing a story with a British woman? No, definitely not. All right, let me see what happened. I don't know. I'm here talking and just kapoops. All right, let's play a little commercial and see if we can force it back on. Here's a word. The ESO is doing another survey, so make sure that you participate in these surveys. This is very, very important because it gives the government good, data to make decisions off of. Anytime the ESO comes a knocking, we try to support them because we know that the information that they pull together is then used for reporting purposes and making really important decisions in terms of budgeting and where money goes and how the community is supported.
The Fall Labour Force Survey and Quality of Life Survey conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office (ESO) starts on Sunday, September 28th. The Labour Force Survey seeks to collect data on the employed and unemployed persons in the Cayman Islands, as well as those who are not in the labour force. The Quality of Life Survey seeks to gather information on life satisfaction, sense of well-being, financial security, economic outlook, social inclusion, sense of belonging to the local community, and perceived health. Trained interviewers, with ESO ID cards, will visit randomly selected households. The interviews are confidential in accordance with the Statistics Act. No individual data will be published or disclosed. Survey data are exempt from Freedom of Information requests. For more details, please call the ESO hotline at 516-3329. That is, 516-3329.
Infrastructure is more than roads and buildings.
It's our lifelines connecting East End to West Bay, Cayman to Little Cayman, and the Cayman Islands to the world.
It established the route to get our children to school, keep our hospitals powered, and support our businesses every day.
Through hard work, ingenuity, and perseverance, people make that happen.
From the early pioneers who paved the first paths and laid the first pipes,
To the innovators who modernize water, energy, telecoms, ports, and our airport.
they're the quiet hands that build resilience.
And the vision that keeps Cayman going strong.
Now it's our turn to recognize them. Know someone who built, maintained, or improved the Cayman Islands we love?
Nominate them today at gov.ky/YSCH. Click Nominate today.
All right. Good morning and welcome back. So they're checking on it. And they said it might actually be a global issue with one of the systems that they use. So we're still here. Let me know, radio folks, if you're able to hear me again. It was some proxy thing was reconnecting or something. All right. So yes, I'll read some more comments that are coming. So this person says, Charmaine came here to get high as a foreigner, and now the real Caymanians are paying. But when these people work for the government, they believe that they own those jobs and the departments are their own businesses. Sandy, it's all over government that are like that, and especially from those that get Cayman status. They will give Caymanians a hell of a hard time because they want to bring in their own and run the good ship Cayman straight into the ground. You see what Carrie is saying is true. The bigger the the better the luck. If you know the quote, you know the quote. That's all I'm gonna say. Child, I was using this quote the other day myself when I was on vacation. I saw a certain person who, now professing to be a Christian, posted something, and I said, ugh, the bigger the the bigger the social media comments, child. Oh, Lord, have mercy. I can't take some of y'all seriously. I got to tell you the truth. I mean, I'm just like, okay, friend. Every time you be talking about Jesus, I'm like, Did you ever apologize to your sister for sleeping with her husband? I'm just saying. I can't even. All right. Well, I guess we will have to continue. So this person says the non-performers is such BS. Some of these are individuals that left registration and have moved to other departments that they are now key employees. Explain that to me. Or Kirks. I'm saying, I can't explain that to you. And not only that, but let me be very, very clear. Some people have been there a very, very long time. And so, my God, you mean they've been sitting there for 30 years as non-performers? I do kind of feel it's a little bit suspicious that could be what's going on with Charmaine. She not a cleanup queen here. But like I said, we got another one over at the court's office. And she is, in so many ways, she kind of reminds me of Charmaine in the sense that, equally, they almost kind of look alike in a way. They kind of look alike a little bit too. But like to prance around, flaunting their behind and going on like they somebody, like their ish don't stink. Somebody said they've never even seen Charmaine smile. They just think she has a horrible personality. And this is not someone who works at the HSA. This is just someone who, Lord, I can't message Sandra, but Charmaine is controlled by Sheila Thomas, a JCAN that Civil Aviation pushed out. Sheila Thomas. Let me go look and see what this Sheila Thomas look like. Anybody got a picture? Sheila Thomas. Let's see. Oh. Who the heck is she? Chief Financial Officer. Okay, so that means I should be able to go to their website and find her because she'd be part of their leadership team. Sheila Thomas. Sheila. Okay. Oh, there she is. Oh, really? Who's she? And she used to work civil aviation and they got rid of her? And of course, we'd have to pick up. Well, I don't even understand how government works, you know. You get pushed out of one government agency or department and the others happily grab you up like you're such a prize. This person says people don't leave bad jobs. They leave because of bad bosses, poor management who don't appreciate their value. So this is Sheila Thomas. She's the CFO, Chief Financial Officer. And apparently she's hiring 2 assistant CFOs. She must be making a lot of money for the HSA. Why she need 2 people to do the job. And we were talking about how they're trying to rotate them in and out every 6 months or something weird. I don't even know what's going on with the finances over there. It's a whole other situation. A person has shared, they said, they shared this about Sabrina Turner addresses Parliament as House Minister. This was July 2024. Let me see what's in this story. Ex-minister delivers damning critique of HSA management. This was a headline from CNS. Oh. Wait a minute. This was posted 13 minutes ago? Okay. Why was it posted 13 minutes ago? I'm confused. CNS just posted this? But it's from something in July of 2024? Hold on. Let me just have a look. Let me just have a quick look. Yeah, apparently. Ex-minister delivers damning critique of HSA management. Oh, it's a new article. Oh, this was her calling into my show. Oh, bless your little heart, Wendy. I had to go to the link. Oh, honey child, the ish just hit the fan. Not for nothing, but Wendy made a whole story out of yesterday's show. Snaps. Go on through, Wendy. Thank you so much. Wow. It's a mess and then some. You know, our team should have been on top of that story. I'm going to tell you. I'm messaging them right now. How y'all gonna make somebody else pick up the story? All right. Thank you. Are we still off? Are we back? Radio back? We're okay. Okay. All right. Good morning. Brown Sugar says good morning from Guanaja today. Bless you. Thank you so much. Miss Marjorie says HSA needs to stop wasting money, sending out so many bill reminders to people who have complete insurance coverage and have no bill to pay. Then they send it again and again and again. Still off. All right, let me see if I can force it on by playing a little music bed. 1 second for me, honey. Chill.
It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone. And when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend of Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Berman Scott bringing it to you there in that beautiful song. Thank you so much, Mr. Berman. He actually wrote us 2 songs for the Cold Hard Truth. He is so talented. Oh my gosh, what a man with a lot of talent. All right, I think we're back on radio. I had to listen in, make sure that we were kicked in. I had to disconnect and connect back on. There we go. All right, honey child. Thank you, ladies, for letting me know you still couldn't hear it. So yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know, what else to say about this situation. I really do hope that the HSA gets it together, which means the ministry has to really direct the board. People have been fired for far less. It's so funny how government works, right? I mean, civil servants is hard to fire them, I will admit. But remember when they had, who was it over at the Port Authority? They got fired because they weren't making enough money. Remember? Was that Mr. Clement? Who did they fire over there? Somebody they fired. And more or less, it came down to money. There was a few other things going on, but that board said, you got to go, Bobo. And I remember Alden McLaughlin making a statement about why they had to get rid of, the board chairman and different people. Listen, where there is a will, there's a way. And so bad performance, if you already have a CEO that was written up last year, that means that she already doesn't have a stellar record. And when I tried to find out exactly what she was written up for, it was a long list, a laundry list of stuff. So come on now. How many chances? Y'all must be in the 5th chances program, not 2nd chances program. Let's talk about homelessness in the Cayman Islands. Oh, and by the way, before I move on to civil service incompetence, yes, I'm aware of this person over at the court office. And having had my own little experience recently where they want to hold down and say one thing when it don't go so, and questioning people about, oh, well, this never happened. But you see, I don't make it about me now, because it's not got nothing to do with me. When you start to impact staff, and just like what's happening over HSA, staff start to go, staff who've been there for years, good workers. And in this case now, I know what I'm talking about when I say that people are good workers. And y'all want to, you're like bitches and rollerblades, right? You're going around trying to just make everybody's lives miserable because you're miserable. I swear some of y'all need a man or woman or something, because y'all are so miserable that, when you're not happy in your own lives, you go about making everybody else's life challenging and miserable as well. And you should not be doing that. That's not right. So I'm telling you, that one is going to soon come as well if they don't shape up. And y'all over at court office, every one of you, I don't even have to call nobody's name yet. I bet you if you're listening right now, you're like, we know who she is. And that alone says something. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Keep it up is what I'm going to tell you. Because some of those people, they're leaving. Their exit interview is going to be on CMR. So keep it up. That's what I'm going to tell you. Because they're going to come in here and spill all the tea. By the way, if you ever want to do an interview and tell your side of a story, when you have to deal with the likes of Charmaine Moss and whatever, we can find a way to keep you anonymous. We will work on it. You call me here? Call me. All right, honey, chill. Let's move on to homelessness in the Cayman Islands. So there was a recent article in the Compass that got a lot of you sent it to me. Let me go to the Compass, child, because I got to admit, I didn't even read the article because I don't really go to the Compass. I really don't. Let me see here now. What's their website called? Compass Cayman? They changed it from Cayman and Compass, right? Compass Cayman. And so there was some story. Somebody sent me the link. There was a story about homelessness. And, I have a lot of questions. And so when I saw the headline, I immediately said to someone, I would like to know more about these people and more about this situation. So I think most of you just sent me a screenshot. I don't know if y'all are not reading the Compass either, but you sent me a screenshot. It says, a Caymanian family of 7 say that they are days away from pitching tents on the beach after being left homeless and unable to find an affordable place to stay. Over the last month, they've slept in cars, borrowed money for hotel rooms, and huddled in a 1-bedroom flat provided by a charity. Now the married couple and their 5 children have been left with nowhere to go. 5 children? So when hold on. Let me see if I can pull this up. When I bring up, when you guys send me a story like this, my brain automatically goes into question mode. Like I just have a lot of questions. That's just how I think. I'm sorry, but that's just how I think. And not for nothing, but the first question for me is like, why do you have 5 children? Who in their right mind in this day and age can afford 5 children? Okay. I would love to do more stories like this, but you know why certain people don't come to CMR? I gotta tell y'all why. Is because they automatically know that when they come to me, I'm gonna critique their story. I'm gonna be like, both of you not working? If you are working, what kind of jobs? Have we tried to upskill ourselves? Like, I just always have a lot of questions. So I don't just be like, I'm going to just take you at, maybe there was a time when I did that, being naive. I can't just take you at face value anymore. I want to know a little bit about your life, and more importantly, the decisions that you have made that have gotten you here. Now, you can't put back 5 children. I'm going to admit that. There's no way to undo it. But I think that when we talk about these issues, what we need to talk about is how is it that you find yourself in such a predicament? Because yes, we all know how difficult it is to find housing in Cayman, but it is much more difficult to find housing for 7 people as opposed to 3 people or 4 people. So I tell you guys straight. Remember the young lady who was also living on the beach with a couple kids, and she came forward and, she shared her story. Same thing. They ran to Compass, bless their little hearts. The people over at Compass seem very, very sympathetic to certain stories, and that's fantastic. But the realities are I wonder if their reporters are asking some serious questions. We have a housing crisis here in the Cayman Islands, just like they do, quite frankly, all over the world. This is not unique to Cayman. If you were in Miami right now and you're trying to find a house for 7 people, you're going to struggle, especially if you don't make a lot of money. So let's read through what the article says and see if we can pick sense from nonsense. Because remember, the last time they ran this type of a story, what we found out is that that young lady had ran from Canada. The Canadian government was actually looking for her to repay money that she had defrauded their equivalent of the Department of Financial Services. So she was lying in order to get benefits. Yeah, you guys remember that one? And because she come back to Cayman, and we're not going to just give handouts without asking questions, as rightfully we shouldn't. Okay? As rightfully we shouldn't do that. All of a sudden, she's on the beach, because, I mean, apparently that's the only place that they can go and live when they're homeless is on the beach. Because, you know, everybody wants to make a spectacle on the beach because that's where the tourists are going to see them. Even that to me is like, why are you pitching a tent on the beach? There's lots of, you don't have a friend whose backyard you could pitch a tent in? I mean, if you're really desperate to pitch a tent, there are lots of friends. Y'all don't have friends that would be like, you know what, come and hang out in my backyard. But this concept of pitching it on the beach is because, you know, they want people to notice them. Now, I'm not trying to be unsympathetic because, trust me, I have been there in some regard. I feel like a lot of us have been. You know, when I was in university, I also didn't know oftentimes where my next meal was coming from. But I'll tell you one thing, I was still working a full-time job. I got an RA job so that at least I had, once I got into that position, I had room and board. And to me, that was the basics. Once I got good, safe shelter over my head, and with that job, they fed you in the cafeteria, but I had to work, and I got the shifts that nobody else wanted. The midnight shifts where everybody else was out partying on a Friday night, and I was on from, what was the shifts that we worked? Was it 6 to 6? Yeah, I think it was 6 to 6. Oh, God. That was the worst shift because 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, child, you start to get tired. That's when I would start running up and down the stairs because my floor was the 13th floor. And so we had to go on all the different floors. I refused to go on the 6th floor because they were the pot smokers. And you'd walk through they were the partiers in the 6th floor. You'd walk through and the whole hallway would be full of pot smoke. Like you could barely see where you were going, honey child. I was like, oh, these kids. But I understand the hustle is real. But you know, as someone who came from poverty, one thing I knew very, very early on is the way to get out of poverty is to not have children you cannot afford. Not for nothing. But that's why I didn't have one until I was in my 40s. I'm like, I can't afford no kids. I was not going to be a teenage mother, a mother in my 20s, 30s. Nope. No. And was still trying to find a man that I'm like, well, you know, the way the economy going, you need 2 parents to contribute to the bills and the finances and to pay the bills. So yeah, you can do it on your own, but why would you? If you can find a good, reliable man, you know, that you're trying to build something with. These are the realities in my head. I'm just like, y'all don't think about these things? Like, what's going on? Okay, let's read the article. Caymanian families 7 say that they're days away from pitching tents on the beach after being left homeless and unable to find an affordable place to stay. Over the last month, they've slept in cars. How do 7 people sleep in a car, by the way? What kind of car do they have? That must be a big-ass car. Borrowed money for hotel rooms and huddled in a 1-bedroom flat. Who wrote this article? We don't have flats in Cayman, you English people. It's either 1-bedroom condo or apartment. I'm just saying. Anywho, that's when they have English people writing their articles. Provided by a charity, and now the married couple and their 5 children have been left with nowhere to go. 33-year-old mother. Damn. 33 with 5 children? Huh. Okay. says it's impossible to find anywhere within their price range that will accept a family of this size. You see, now that's the problem. It's not that they can't find housing. It's that they can't find housing for 7 people. And let me be honest, who can blame you? If I had a rental, 4-bedroom, listen, I was managing Airbnb and then people would message me, oh, we have a party of 8. Can you accommodate? No. Because you know the wear and tear on a property when you have that many people trying to use one kitchen? That many people, even if you have a 4-bedroom, like how are you going to be bunking up on top of each other? So for 7 children, let's assume the parents sleeping in 1 bedroom, right? I don't know what the breakup is. I don't know how many girls they have, how many boys they have, but okay, say there's 2 boys, couple girls. When girls get to be a particular age, you kind of need to give them their own space. They need privacy. They start to go through their teenage years and stuff like that. So a lot of times it's hard to put, depending on the age difference, girls together with boys. And yeah, like you would legit need at least a 5-bedroom house. They said the kids are ages 9 to 14. 9 to 14. That's a pretty close spread. So, I mean, young people, please think about the decisions that you're making. Think about your life. Because to me, this is like logistics now. You see how my brain is like logistically trying to figure out how you fit 7 people in a house? Listen, I've got a house. We got 3 people here and a dog. 4,000 square feet, more or less. A little bit over, but that's like the porch and whatever. And for 3 people, there's some days that I feel like that's not even enough. You know what I'm saying? And we have 2 bedrooms that nobody is in because they're just guest rooms. So I don't necessarily go in there and go lie down. But during COVID, we had to, because you're around people 24/7. You're like, oh my God, I need a break. It's going to be challenging with 7 children and a limited budget. Says that they earn close to $3,000 a month. 2 people earning close to $3,000 a month. Too much to qualify for government support, but too little to afford a place to stay. Well, that's about, say $1,500 each. I'm going to tell you that that's not really a whole lot of money. So, I don't know what the criteria is for the Department of Financial Services, but in a situation like this, of course, they still have to find a place because you see, they have a double whammy here. They have a financial constraints and they have a number of people issue. If this was a family of 3 or 4 people, they would have found a place a long time ago. You got too many children. Now, it's too late for them to learn that lesson, but please don't have no more. Because at 33, she still got a good 15 to 20 years worth of childbearing opportunities. Please tell me with 5 children, you've already had your tubes tied. Don't get offended. I'm trying to help you all make better decisions in life. And anybody that I cared about, elders, aunts, mothers, you have children, you see them having boom, 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 kids like that close together. By baby number 3, in 3-4 years, you got to step up and say, let me introduce you. Because clearly birth control not really working for you for whatever reason. Let me introduce you to tubal ligation. I did the same thing. I got a little friend this morning. She might even be listening. She works a little government job. By 25, she was in baby number 4. And I said, girl, let me have a conversation with you. And I'm going to tell you, this is how the conversation went. I was in Cayman and my husband's like, get off the phone. We're supposed to be on vacation. And I was like, honey, I'm about some serious business here. Just give me an hour. And I had my little daughter. I don't know if she's quite 2 yet. She might have been 2. 18 months, 2 years old, whatever. And then, when I hear people think, and I know this is where we need to rewire our thought process. When I hear people saying to me, Oh, Miss Sandy, but I don't know if I want to get my tubes. Supposedly that last one was in plan. None of them really planned, because y'all believe you can have sex and not get pregnant, apparently. Not use birth control, not get pregnant, and there's no planning around this. That's a problem. Plan your life. Plan your children. They're your biggest investment. It should be a planned situation. Y'all just doing it. Y'all just out here fornicating. And you're taking a book out of that song. Oops, I did it again. Britney Spears. Oops, it happened again. Got pregnant again. So I said, look here now. You need to get your tubes tied. But what if in my 40s I want to have another one? I said, honey, child, let's have a coming to Jesus moment. I'm in my 40s and just had my first one. Nobody in their right mind has children in their 40s. Okay? I only did it because that was the first one. If I was at number 3, 4, 5, I'm not having no children in my 40s. I'm done. Why would you think? And we had to work it through. I'm like, why would you think in your 40s? Because you started young. So when you hit your early 40s, girl, you're done. And I can see that you're the type of person who, although you're a mother, you still want to go out. You still want to have a good time occasionally. You still want to live your best life. You don't have a home of your own. You're shacked up with a family member. Explain to me how it makes sense for you to not get your tubes tied. Financially, how much time are you spending with each one of those children to give them individual time? Right? If you gave one child half an hour per day, by the time they get home from school, and you got 4, you do the math, you up till midnight trying to spend time with children, individual time. I'm not saying clump them all together, dining room, and everybody eat and hurry up and get to bed and get your bath. No, you need to develop relationships with each one of your children. You cannot do that when you have all those children unless you are a full-time mother and you got $1 million bank account like some of these celebrities. But some of y'all want to pretend that that is your life story when it simply isn't. And this is a problem. So some comments are coming in. Someone said, yes, her tubes are tied. Well, thank God. I mean, after 5 kids, at that age, it makes sense. And by the way, not for nothing, but I'm aware that for a long time, the HSA Jamaican doctors were telling people not to get their tubes tied and that they needed permission from husbands and all kind of ridiculous stuff that doesn't make any sense. So this person says, yes, her tubes are tied due to complications. Only reason she was able to get it done is because Cayman won't allow you to get your tubes tied before age 35. You see, this is actually incorrect, right? Let me set the record straight now. And I'm going to be in a position to set the record straight on this because I have personally, and I mean more than one conversation, personally reached out to Lizette, and Lizette can tell you this, and we've had the conversation about why, in particular, her Jamaican OBGYNs were telling Caymanians this foolishness about they couldn't get their tubes tied before a particular age, and they couldn't get it done without the permission of a husband or father. You're a big woman in your 20s and 30s, and somebody else needs to give you permission to get your tubes tied? Cayman is backwards, as them old people would say, ass backwards, and I could not believe that in the 2000s, people were being told this kind of foolishness by people at the HSA. Do I need permission to go get breast augmentation surgery? If I had cancer, would I need permission to go and get a lumpectomy or any other medical procedure? So tell me then why physicians at the HSA were up until I spoke to Lizette and tell her they better stop it because I was going to expose it. Telling people, informing people erroneously that, oh, you can't get your tubes tied before age 35. Why not? Why not? Of course you can. You can go in there right now at 18 and tell them you want your tubes tied and you don't have a single child. It is your body, and you have a right to do whatever medically you want with your body. And this is where culturally we have failed our people. And I said straight up to Lizette, I said, I bet you one thing, not a single one of those Jamaican doctors that are telling people this foolishness have ever helped a poor child in Jamaica, a poor single mother who had all these children and they refused to tie her tubes. And I bet you they're not going to be helping no Caymanian single parents or children either. So stop telling people that they need somebody else's permission to get their tubes tied and that there's an age requirement. There's no age requirement. Absolutely not. Now, they can advise you of, okay, you know, this is going to be irreversible. You know, you get your tubes tied. That's it. Are you sure you want to do it? You know, they can give you the medical advice and the pros and cons of getting it done medically. But what they were doing is they were actually telling people they couldn't do it, that they needed to get written permission from a spouse if they were married, and if they were not married, from their fathers. I'm sorry, excuse me, but this is not the 1890s. Men no longer control what we can and can't do with our bodies. So I was really shocked when I heard young Caymanian women coming to me saying that, Sandy, this is what's happening. They're denying us the ability to get a tubal ligation. And I called Lizette and I said, Lizette, you got to put a stop to this. You've got to talk to your women's health department. This is absolutely illegal, unlawful, unacceptable, even on a moral basis. Good morning, caller.
Morning.
Good morning, honey child.
I think this is where us as women, we have to know our rights and stand up, because I had a similar situation where I was told, no, you're too young and you only have X amount of kids. No, you, and I looked the doctor square in her eye at HSA and I said, are you telling me that no, you cannot do it, or are you strongly advising and is it my choice?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I'm strongly advising, but it is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to ask those questions and be forthcoming and be straight up and say, no, is it my choice, or what are you saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I was never asked anything about.
Yep.
I was never asked anything about my husband's permission or anything. I was told it is your right. You can do it, but we strongly advise against it.
Yeah, and I don't know why they do that. They shouldn't even. Quite frankly, they
I
should
guess
not.
Because well, the doctor did say to me that, you know, she had a lot of people that did it when they were young and then came back and wanted it reversed. So I get that, but they just, like you said, they are doctors. They are to give you the medical reasons and say, remember, this is not reversible. This is whatever. But once they lay it out for you, it's your choice.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, listen, I don't know, you know, like I said, they're certainly not going to help you take care of your children. That much I do know. And I am really flabbergasted that the approach that they have taken is that they think it's okay to advise. Like, the advice they need to be giving women is like, okay, you know, these are the choices you have. Here are the pros and the cons, both sides of it. And then the rest is up to you. They don't know your financial situation. They don't know what you can afford and not afford.
Insurance, I think insurance should change as well, because insurance does not cover that insurance will not cover that unless it's like you have cancer or something and they're saying that you need it done.
Thank
you.
So
that's what the doctor said to me too, that she was like, well, you know, insurance won't cover it and it's expensive. Mm-hmm. And I was like, more expensive than having another child?
Don't think so.
Like,
yeah, listen to me.
So insurance should change on that as well.
Yes, I was coming to that. This should be a procedure
I'll hang up and listen now.
Thank you, honey. Yes, I was going to come to that, because this is a procedure that should be at no cost. That, and men, come on now, step up to the plate. We're talking about women, and I get it. You know, as a woman, we are ultimately responsible for our bodies. We're the ones who have to care for the children primarily. We're the ones who are going to be strapped with this responsibility. Y'all running around here like Don Juan and then some, having 10, 15, 20 children with no accountability. You refuse to get a job. And so we are forced, those of you who are stupid enough to have a child with a man like that, you're forced to take care of this child on your own. And I'm going to talk to some of you all now about why you are selecting certain men to even have children with to begin with. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Let me explain my situation, why I was so, okay, I had my son at the age 35. But I was a high-risk person. I didn't carry pregnancies very well. And it was Dr. Peter. I don't know if I remember him because I had the tubal ligation, but it was Dr. Beecher that did my stuff. But he explained to me, and they said, because I had a placenta previa problem with him, and they explained to me that I was done 35. I had 2 kids, and I said, well, that's why I wanted a girl and a boy. And then they say, and I say, and if I get pregnant again, it can either be one or the other. It can't be an animal. And I don't want no pilot kids since I'm high risk. But he explained to me, but he said, remember, if we do this, because I think they say if they just tie you, it can be reversible. But if they burn it, it can be reversible. Well, I don't know what they done with me because I got a little thing in my navel. They did it to my navel because they did it after I had him before I come out of the theater or whatever. But anyway, he explained to me, but yes, this issue about husband had to sign consent came up. And I said, well, why? And then he didn't want to do it, although I was high risk. And I said, well, I bother. So why? Because they say about in the U.S., the husband do have to do it. But in Cayman, that was lost. So yeah, but it's not him. And if I'm high risk, and then like they were telling me that if I'm not pregnant again, it's not possible that the same complication that I had would occur, but it wasn't impossible. And if that had occurred, I could have lose my life. Plus the child, I said, well, hell no, let's do it. And I don't do remember paying for nothing. My insurance.
How long ago? That was at least 30. How old is your son now?
I was 1990, 35 years ago.
Okay.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
1990, because my son is 35 in March.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm still flabbergasted that anybody wants to tell a woman that she needs somebody else's permission.
Tell them that. They make me sign, and I had it.
Yeah. Yeah, good. All right, love. Thank you for your experience. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm not sorry.
Yeah. I mean, it's so stupid to say, oh, well, somebody has an experience and oh, you know, people come back and want to listen. Well, when these doctors tell you this, they're not statistically telling you, oh, that's only like 2% of the people or 1%. No. Every group that you have that have had a particular type of surgery or procedure, you might have a small percentage of people who are like, yes, you know, I regret it. Maybe I wanted to have one more child. That's not the majority of people. So I don't even know why they're telling you all that. And I agree with the previous caller. This now is where we need to get it together. Both tubal ligation and what's it called when men do it? Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, because we only ever talk about women. That's why I can't remember. What's the procedure called when men do it again? You all know what I mean. Fixing the little pee-pee. I mean, I'm sorry. It's called vasectomy. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Lord have mercy. Good morning, caller.
It's called a vasectomy.
I know. I couldn't remember.
Okay, bye.
Go on, here I am. We can just snip the little pee-pee a little bit. All right, vasectomy. There we go. And that's reversible. And that one, I don't think that's quite as effective as when a woman does it, but whatever. Listen to me now. Men should also be willing to do it. But you know, most Caribbean men refuse to get a vasectomy. Y'all not easy, you know? Y'all leave it entirely on the women. Vasectomy should be completely free of cost. I mean, covered 100%. Because in my mind, both a vasectomy and a tubal ligation is called preventative medicine. There should be no cost. And like the caller said, it sure as heck, I mean, I don't know what the going cost is for these things, but it sure as heck cheaper than actually having a child for 18 plus years, because you never stop helping them, honey child. They turn 18, they still be coming and living with you. All right. So this person says she tried to get her tubes tied due to complications. Yes, her tubes are tied. Only reason she was able to get it done was because Cayman won't allow you. So that's foolishness about age 35. And it's important now that y'all spread the word. Anyone who comes to you, any physician, and tells you you have to be a particular age to get your tubes tied or get permission from anyone is a liar. That's against the law. So make sure that you know your rights. And physicians involved in women's health, and like I said, my personal experience is that it was the Caribbean physicians, aka the Jamaican physicians at HSA, who were coming up with this foolishness. And I'm disappointed in them, because not for nothing. Let's look. Yeah, Roseanne says father's permission. Wow, yes. Let's look at the number of unwanted children in Jamaica that's contributing to the high rise of everything, but mostly poverty and the dire conditions that those poor children are forced to live in. You know, you're coming from a country where you know what unwanted children have to go through. And yet, here you are talking foolishness about you need somebody's permission or you need to meet a certain age requirement. In fact, I'm going to get real controversial here this morning now. Abortions. Let's have a conversation on that one day. Now, I am pro-choice. I'm not pro-abortion, but I'm pro-choice. And there are certain instances that abortion is your only option, in my opinion. I don't advocate when you have other things that you can do, reliable birth control, right? When you have tubal ligation vasectomies, abortion shouldn't be a means of birth control. But you know what? Leave that option, put the option on the table, and leave it there for women to be able to choose what they wish to do. I personally would never have one. I wouldn't advocate, except in certain circumstances, for people to even consider it. But that's your body. Give people the choice. And if you think people not having them anyway, y'all need a reality check. They're getting tablets from Honduras. There's making them hemorrhage out. Potentially dangerous situations are created where they could kill themselves because of it. So make it happen in a clean environment where you can just go get it done. In a safe environment where a physician knows what they're doing. If people are financial means, they jump it on a plane anyway and going and having it done. Tartarian says Jamaican name call again. What a stronghold they have in Cayman. No sell. Well, listen, I'm only telling you the facts. I don't care whether you get offended or not. Do they have a stronghold? Over 50% of the population. So what you think, Tartarian? Almost every doctor in women's health back in the day at HSA was from Jamaica. So what you think? It wasn't no Caymanians in women's health that were telling Caymanian young ladies not to get their tubes tied. So these are facts. If you don't like the facts, I mean, I can't help you with that. Tying tubes is not irreversible, says Brutality T Savage. And when you cut or burn or tie, you can always untie your tubes. Well, I don't know. Get that advice from your physicians. But most of y'all don't need to be untying nothing. So let's not even go down that one. But yes. Al 2025 says if you can't get your tubes tied in Cayman, go overseas. Overseas where though? Because a lot of these young girls are of limited financial resources. So where are they going to go? Where are they going to get the money to go and get all that done? And to be in the hospital for a day or two recovering and all that kind of stuff. Just stop telling people foolishness because it don't make no sense. All right. So birth control never worked for her, allergic to latex. This girl got more excuses than Quaker got oats now. You say birth control doesn't work. Why? Which birth control method are we talking about? because there are multiple methods that are available. And if you're telling me not a single birth control method worked for her and she's allergic to latex, in my brain now, I'm hearing nothing but pure excuses, and the story is becoming less and less believable. Which one did she try? Birth control pills? There's a whole gamut of those that you can try. None of those work for her. She could do oh Lord, what's the one called now that you put in the 5-year one in the arm? Oh Lord, what are they called? She can do that. There's the Marina or something where you can insert into your cervix. There's that one. You can get the Depo-Provera style shot. You mean to tell me that not a single one of all of these birth control options could work for her? Because she's allergic? Or she got some kind of issues? Child, I haven't had to look at birth control in a while. Hold on. Let me tell you all the different methods. Because there's a lot. There is combined pill, hormone, progesterone, and ogestrone. There's a progesterone-only pill. There's an IUD device, which is copper or coil. You have an IUS device. You have a contraceptive implant. You have contraceptive injection. You have contraceptive patch. You have vaginal rings. None of these things will work. Y'all lying to me. You got condoms. Okay, she's allergic to latex. Aren't condoms available in other material other than latex? You've got internal female condoms. We talked about, the female sterilization, vasectomy. You've got a diaphragm or a cap. You've got natural family planning, certainly not as effective. And then you've got the emergency after pill. So you have about 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 different, 11, 12 different birth control options. And y'all gonna sit here and tell Auntie, like I was born yesterday, that birth control didn't work for her and she's allergic to latex. You know what that means? Come a little bit closer. Come here, honey child. Come. This is now where Aunt Lottie needs to come in with her Bible. Come here. If you are allergic to all forms of birth control and you're allergic to latex, right? And none of that not gonna work. You know what? This is God now. This is the universe. And God telling you, you shouldn't be having no sex. You're not allergic to keeping your legs closed. I'm pretty sure that that's not an allergy. Do y'all know that you cannot have sex? I'm just saying. That's an option. Oh, no, Sandy, we can't do it, Auntie. Now, come on, now we can't do that. Abstinence is a wonderful thing for some of y'all young people. You don't need to be fornicating to begin with. Go get an education first. If some of y'all would put the same effort into educating yourselves and uplifting yourselves as you put into chasing down man and chasing down a little PP, y'all would be way further ahead in life. I'm just saying. The infrastructure that used to support women when you had 9, 10 children back in the day no longer exists. It is not here. So stop it. You don't have extended family that is going to be in a position to help you out anymore. Everybody hustling, trying to make ends meet. And they not got no house that can be holding and available for 10, 15, 20 people. All right, this person says, stop judging as she's had trauma since the age of 6 years old. OMG, this is why a lot of Caymanians don't want to say anything, because of the same reason, judging, not knowing exactly what she's been through. She don't go out at all. She was living with her husband's parents, but these in-laws would not care and have all kind of people on the side of the house go in her fridge and take her kids' foods out. Okay. This is exactly why. I'm not judging, but I'm judging. Because who you think hasn't been through trauma? You think she's the only person who has had trauma? Y'all need to stop using trauma as an excuse for lifelong poor decisions. Take it from me, who's had trauma. Because the last thing I want to do in life is to take my trauma and pass it on to the next generation. We have got to break the generational curse of trauma. So I hear you, and I sympathize with her as someone who's experienced years of trauma myself. And I can tell you that trauma can be something that forces you to make better and different decisions, not then putting your own children in a situation where they are more likely than not to experience childhood trauma themselves. Okay? This isn't judging because we think we're better than anybody. I don't sit here in judgment of anyone. I sit here and say, listen, as woman to woman, let's have a conversation. Been there, done that. Understand where you're coming from. Understand childhood poverty. Understand a mother who had 8 children. That's where I came from, the youngest of 8. And I know what I went through. I know that Granny had to take so many. Next person had to take so many. My father comes along and says, well, my 3, let me see if I can give them an opportunity. Aunt Lottie, can you take 1 or 2? Families being torn apart and split apart because you have 8 children. But back in those days, the options were not available like what they are now. We now have options. And so this is why we need to stop finding excuses for poor decisions. 5 children is not a mistake. 5 children is a lot of poor decisions. Now, someone said only the husband is working. Why? When you got 5 children, the reality is you're going to have all hands on deck. It can't just be the husband working for almost $3,000 a month. You got to go out there and work too. Listen, you have got to decide in your life, and you got to start thinking about these things. You have got to decide what you want your life story to be. You're 16 years old, and maybe you're listening to Auntie this morning. And this is where I think we need to have more integrated programs. We have a new Minister of Education now, Ralston Anglin, right? Start allowing community leaders and women who have been through something to go into our schools and mentor our young ladies. They only see one thing. And a lot of times it's dysfunctionality in their own households that they are coming from. What they need is to see options. They need to sit down and have mentors and conversations with women who could say, listen, when I was 16, 17 years old, I was in an abusive relationship. I started out too young, and this is how it has negatively impacted my life. But I've been able to turn it around, show some good examples. I've been able to turn it around. This is where I'm at now, right? Have some real conversations with these young people. Too many of our young girls are out there being sexualized at a very early age because of my pet peeve topic, which is child sexual abuse. We're exposing them to too much. Too many fathers who have abandoned their children, and little girls are out there looking for love in all the wrong places. Their households are financially strained, so they're out there looking for sugar daddy, somebody who's going to buy them a fancy phone or a handbag or a piece of weave on their head. It's so funny because I never see y'all out there selling your body to get an education. It's interesting when y'all want a sugar daddy. Y'all want it for all this frivolous crap. But I don't see a sugar daddy for a bachelor's degree. Let's make that trend. Hashtag sugar daddy for a bachelor's or master's degree. Try to elevate yourselves. Right? All of these stories are about cautionary tales, because this isn't a one-off situation. There are lots of Caymanians who will find themselves in this same situation. It is going to be a constant struggle when you only have one income and you've got a place where you're looking for 7 people. Somebody said in the comment section, nobody not gonna rent no place for 7 children. Do you understand the wear and tear that even has on a place? And landlords have a right to try to, I mean, yes, they're landlords and, you know, they're in the rental business, but you have to have some standards, right? You know how much money it is for you to repair an apartment that people went in and messed up? And just even, listen, they could be the greatest family, take care of your place, but 7 children, the natural wear and tear on a place is going to be a lot. Island Pearl says after the first child of 9 years, she had a kid, the first child of 12 years, you mean, she had a kid every year after that, which is sad and concerning. Finally got a tube side, thank God. Brian, good morning, says I live in Florida, but have friends living down there, and I love listening to you. Thank you, Brian. Big shout out to you. Aisle 2025 says $3,000 a month, so neither are educated. Well, apparently I'm understanding that he's the only one who's working. So that's between the two of them, but really that's just his income, less than $3,000 a month. She needs to get a job. 9 years old, that means all the kids are in school during the day. Right? Find something, even if it is minimum wage, that can help pay 1 or 2 bills, help with the groceries. You see, y'all are too soft now, Ina. We have somehow become a community of softies where you can no longer call a spade a spade. Okay? You can no longer have real conversations with people where you say, honey, listen to me. In the evenings, you need to go to school. If you didn't get a GAD, get a GAD. Start going to classes at UCCI. There are government scholarships available where you can do this sort of stuff at no cost. The opportunities are there. Change 345 says, how do you feel knowing you offer nothing? You know, Change 345, how I feel when I read a comment like that is I laugh. I laugh at you for your degree of ignorance and being ill-informed, right? I offer nothing. You don't have a clue what you're talking about. School uniforms, gift cards, CUC bills that I have paid for people out of pocket. And the one thing that I know, talking about offering nothing, the one thing that I know is the best thing you can offer people in life is some good, salient advice and the ability for them to make better decisions. There are people who you could pay their bill every single month. You pay CUC and you're not helping them one bit. You know why? Because they're not learning anything. The best thing I can do, Change 345, since you want to know, is offer you advice on how to stop the madness from one generation to the next. I could offer you hope. Because if I was able to do it, like I said, number 8 of 8 children, I speak of the dysfunctionality in myself. I know that anybody can do it. It can be done. Bailing people out, that's why NAU not gonna work if we don't change the NAU model or Department of Financial Services. Paying someone's bills don't help them. How many times, Change 345, since you want to go there, how many times have you known DFA helping people and they get pregnant while they're in NAU or DFA or whatever the heck we call it, government financial assistance? You know how many times that's happened? Another baby coming again when you're getting government assistance. It should be a requirement that whilst you are on government assistance, you should not be able to have another child. And you know how we're going to ensure that's going to happen? We're going to put in the 5-year IUD inside you, or you get your tubes tied. That could be your options. You come to NAU having a hard patch, okay, no problem. You qualify for assistance. You need to get registered for a job. We need to ensure that you're going to job interviews, registered for some courses to upskill yourself. Government gives away a lot of scholarship money, so we need you to get that money and start thinking how you're going to get up the totem pole. And you're going to have to get on some effective birth control because we can't feed no more mouths. That's it. That's the kind of help y'all need. You don't need a handout. You need a hand up, a helping hand. And we have lost the plot. Oh God, we can't even talk about the fraud in that department head today. That's a whole other show, Carrie. But you're right about that too. We need to stop babying a lot of you who have come up in this world and you feel entitled to something. Because the only thing you're entitled to is the nice fresh air that the good Lord has provided you. And even that, you can't get fresh air no more because all the pollution all over the world and what y'all doing to the environment. You're not entitled to anything. No one has to give you anything in life. How much does it cost to feed a family of 7 people? Somebody saying the grocery bill, Carrie said the grocery bill alone is probably $3,000 a month. I don't know. But when you have a family of that size, everything goes up. Your CUC bill, my God, I can't imagine what that's like. Your water bill, your food bill. Forget having a discretionary budget. Try to take 7 people to the movies. I'm probably like $500 right there. This is the stark reality that y'all need to figure this out. Okay, we want to talk about affordable housing. You can get a little affordable housing, but how do you get affordable housing for 7 people? That's a 4,000 square foot house that you need. Not a little 2,500 square foot house, because again, you wouldn't have enough rooms for anybody to have any privacy. They'd be living on top of each other. Aisle 2025 says, also in the Compass article, why is the hair not combed in the photo? You know, someone is coming to interview you and you wear a big t-shirt and hair looking a mess. Come on, carry yourself better. I mean, I didn't even look. There was a picture in there? Or is it this one? I can't really tell from the silhouette whether the hair combed or not. But I mean, I just feel like, you know, the Compass article says her case highlights gaps in the system. For instance, the rental support provided by government to be all or nothing. There's no partial support on offer for those who can pay some. And I must tell you, I'm surprised by this because I thought that there was partial support by DFA, formerly NAU, because I've seen them do it in the past. So I don't know if these are recent changes, but in the past, they might even say, okay, we can help you with utilities, you know, and part will give you this much towards rent, and then you pay the rest. So there's no partial assistance. I don't think that that's right. Can someone who's familiar with DFA assist me with this one? Because I've had people say, listen, I have a job and NAU can give me $900 towards a place. So they'll pay the $900 and then I pay the difference. So I don't understand what that means when you say it's all or nothing. No, they have, okay, for 1 bedroom, we pay $900. For 2 bedroom, we pay $1,800. I'm not sure if they contribute more than that is the problem. And of course, this family needs more than a 2 bedroom. So these are some of the questions. I'll reach out to NFA. We pay $1,800. Turn down the radio, please. I'll reach out to NFA and try to confirm this. But if you guys know, just message me in the comment section. Good morning, caller.
What do you want to know about DFA?
All right.
Who's the fraud net or who's not?
No. The benefits for DFA, right? Is it correct that it's all or nothing? So in other words, if you can find a place for $4,000 a month and they pay up to $2,500, Wouldn't they pay the $2,500 and then you pay the difference?
That's what it should be, and that's what it was. That's how it used to be.
So I don't know when that supposedly changed, because the Compass is stating a fact here that it's all or nothing, and I don't think that that's actually accurate.
No, I don't think so. But then again, remember when Andre, that was his ministry, was the changes that came out with the name change and everything. They made a lot of changes, and in that change, they added cell phone credit. They added bus fare, and they're also paying mortgages for people who are unemployed or conveniently found themselves unemployed. So some mortgages are up there. Some are $2,500 a month, I guess. That's why they put it to that figure. It never was that figure. I think before, when they covered your rent, they paid a portion of it and a portion of everything else. Like when you sent in your utilities, it was up to, I think, 80% of it they covered. I'm not quite familiar with the last part, the earlier part of it. But nowadays, they do cover a lot for you. You get bus fare, phone credit, your mortgage paid, you get the food, the 400. I think it's 400 a month for groceries is what you get. And that don't go nowhere. A family of 7, she'd be paying 4,000 a month for food in Cayman, just groceries alone.
I know.
For that amount of people.
I know.
My goodness. I mean, I really feel it for women who go out there. Some are women who go out there and feel like, I guess I'm looking at it from the mental side of it, because I've seen so many women like this, where her comfort came from having another baby. She felt healing herself was having another baby, dedicating herself to that child.
Yeah.
And as that one got older, then have another one. But like you say, the article said was one a year, wasn't it, that she was having?
Well, she had, the ages are 12 to 9 or 9 to 12. So they definitely had them in quick succession. I don't know if they're all for the same husband or how that part of the story goes, but
did she have twins?
I don't think so.
Well, how could she have that many children in that short time?
Well, basically just back to back.
Oh God, she was just getting pregnant on her 6-week checkup. She was pregnant again. That's what that looks like. I mean, I'm not saying don't have children, because if I could have children, I would have them. I would have a football team right now. I beat
Not
your
if you
ass
can't
long
afford
time.
it. Not if you can't afford it.
Well, if I can afford it, that's what I meant.
Yes.
But
because you don't need no football team if you can't afford a football team.
Exactly. But I wasn't blessed with a healthy womb, so I take care of cats, and they easy care for. But I remember watching High Five, that page, years ago, 2 years back, not too long. I think it was somewhere around 2015-ish or something like that. There was this girl who had already had 5 children, a towner. She already had 5 children, and all of her and all her children was on assistance back then with Department, I guess, Children Family Service, whatever they called it back then. And she had a picture of her up on High Five, out partying, showing her belly that she was pregnant with number 6, and her tag on that was my 6th government baby.
Wow.
That is the mindset of some of our people, Sandra. They feel that the more children they have, the more money the government is going to give them. And that's where the defrauding, as that a part of that is defraud as well.
So someone said that the article says that she has she's working on a cosmetology degree or something.
Oh, well, then that might help her pretty soon. But I mean, she has 5 kids, and that's the family of 7. Total of 7, can't find nowhere to rent. And yes, I can tell you, as a previous property manager and stuff from 1991 to still now, let me say this: landlords will restrict the number of people living in their property.
Of course.
They don't care. They will tell you that. And then people lie as well and tell you they only got 3 children. And then when you turn around, look, you see all these other children there at the property, and they're telling you, oh, my brother kids slept over. When in fact, it's not the situation. That's their full family right there. 6 children with 2 adults, 8 of them in a 2-bedroom. And you're wondering, how in the world can this, how is this possible? And then you You go and you write and tell them they got to move and they talk. Oh my God. That's why I used to get to the point, Sandra, where I say, I'm not renting to anybody with more than one kid. That's how I used to come to that point, unless it was a big house and they were professionals. Both parents were full professionals, medically or lawyers or whatever, and they could pay and they could afford to have, care for that property and have that many children in it. No problem. But I was very discriminatory when it came to a lot of our people and with children, because I know they destroy our stuff as well.
Yeah.
They destroy your property.
Listen, as a mother of a child, kids are kids. And I can tell you, they got write on walls and they're going to do all kind of foolishness when they're ready. So, you have to know what you're getting into there. But leave me there, Carrie. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you so much. I'm just having a quick look at a website. The Artbeat 345 says, I can attest to the fact that Sandy helps many, many families and kids in need. John, I don't even pay these people. These John who come late to the conversation. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. And so I'm not worried about that. Anyone who knows me, especially when it comes to children, my heart is like so soft. I have had to purposely say to myself, you're not helping these people when you see them in a situation like this. Listen, I have parents come to me, 4 or 5 children. Oh, Sandy, I want to go on vacation. And I said, really? That's nice. And I can help you with the basics, but I can't be helping you with no vacation. Oh, my children deserves to see, the zoo and to see this, that. Yeah, they do. And that's why you should have, thank God we're off radio now. That's why you should have friggin' thought about that before you had 4 or 5 children or 7 children or whatever. Yes, they deserve to get an education. They deserve to be able to take school trips. They deserve all of that. And you didn't help them. Now you can sit back and think about what they deserve. But you didn't think about that when you were having children. Now, somebody said in a comment here that when they say they're allergic to what do you call it, latex, that means that they're allergic to having sex with protection. That's ridiculous. One person said, what's the RAS latex got to do with birth control? I'm allergic to latex and was an injection and patches for years and years and years. There has to be a birth control method. And this is where now I'm not buying excuses. There has to be a birth control method that works. Now, the other thing I want to say here, and this is why, I like to really look at things. The Compass article actually states, okay, let me bring it up, that because they're making a combined income of almost $3,000, they do not qualify. It says here somewhere that they don't qualify for a house, but that doesn't make any sense because the maximum threshold for the number of people, the $500 people, is 7 people. My apologies, is $4,000. So see the website here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull in the website. Hold on. See what it says? 7+ persons in a household. The income threshold is $4,000. Savings threshold is $4,000. And then savings threshold with older persons or adults with permanent disabilities is $15,000. But it's like every single thing there's an excuse for, right? So the Department of Financial Services does provide rental help for those who are struggling up to $4,000. So listen, if they could find a place even for $5,000, $4,000, DFA is going to pay for, and then they pay the $1,000. The problem here is it's a double whammy. It's not just about the finances. It's the number of people. You can find a house in Cayman somewhere down East End in the bush somewhere for $5,000. But chances are those people not going to want 7 people up in their house. So this is a big problem. Now, she claims that despite that minimum criteria, right, that they're still not giving her rental assistance, and she's appealed the decision and waiting on a response. Okay. She says nobody wants to rent to a family with 5 kids. Well, I'm going to have to agree with you there. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have a major problem because I rented to a family with 3 kids, and immigration allowed them to bring in 3 more kids
Oh, Jesus.
without my knowledge.
Oh.
What can we do about that? Because now I have a darn house with 6 kids.
Well, you got to give him notice. That's what you could do. You the landlord, right?
I've done that.
Oh, well, yeah.
But that's not helping because you can't just put people out, I'm told.
Yeah. Well, you give them a month's notice and you hope that in that time, but this is the other thing too. A lot of people take advantage of landlords.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, I do have a 10 o'clock appointment. Oh God, I almost forgot. But yeah, honey child. Thank you. Oh. Edwin says, not switching the subject, but can I get a GED diploma in Cayman? If so, where? As far as I know, Edwin, I can double check, but the private schools actually offer you the ability to get a GED. I think not prep, but St. Ignatius used to have some sort of program. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra.
Morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm grateful.
Good.
Sandra, I have a question.
Sure.
And this is not to criticize anything that you have said or have been saying or your take on this matter. But the one thing that I haven't heard is how did these people get in this situation? And I'm not talking about having 5 children, but was it a case where they had a home, one of them lost the job, they lost the home? How did they get? Obviously, they had somewhere to live to start with. So I'm just curious.
Yeah.
As to how did they get in this predicament to start with? And I also want to say, I don't care what the circumstances are here. I don't need to know. But what I will say is that lots of times people fall into these predicaments through no fault of their own. And sometimes they don't have a child or they may just have one child, but things happen and they have no control over those things. And you know what? We never know about it. We never know about it. And when a depressed person is depressed on the verge of a nervous breakdown, they're the last person to know. So it has to be the people around them to pick up on that and offer some assistance or some help. I am not going to criticize this person for having 5 children. I don't know what the plan was there or the circumstances were or are, but all I'm wondering is how did they get here in the first place? I'm not going to criticize the government either, because like I said, I don't know the circumstances, but I don't think that, changing the narrative here to preach and talk about birth control is what this family needs or wants to hear at this time. This has gotten to the stage where now you need solutions. You have to think about 5 children and what might be happening to them and what we know could happen to them if they're homeless. So that's what I want to hear a little bit more about.
Well, we would love to know as well. And apparently the solution, according to what was shared here.
They were interviewed, so did no one ask that question?
Let me hang up and I'll answer it. Because I think the only thing we got to answer that is a one-liner. And someone else has confirmed, I guess, who knows the family. And if you notice here in the Compass article, it says that they were okay. Most recently, the family had found some stability living with her husband's parents. That answers the question, but that's not stability. But when it said more recently, my question is, well, what were they doing before living with the parents? Because that means that they were probably already in dire straits. And of course, then they were having to go live with the parents. That's not stability. So living with other people, crunching with other people is not stability. So this person says, thank you to the lady speaking now. She fell into this situation. She was fine all the way up to a few months ago. I just wrote it. They were living with his parents. That was a long-term plan to live with his parents. and his parents had a place for those 7 plus whatever. I mean, I don't know if it was just the 2 parents or how many other people are living in a household. You see, that's not stability. So, I mean, that's not even being okay. If you have to rely on other people, listen, I know that we don't want to, like I said, you can't put the children back now. It's too late for that. But there are tons of people who listen to this program. And the best way to avoid a situation is not to get into it in the first place. So yes, we can't put 5 children back. We need to find a solution for this family. She says she's working on a cosmetology degree or diploma or whatever. That's great. You know, hopefully that'll be enough for her to, you know, earn some money to help out with the family income. Even if NAU, here's the sad reality of it. And there's a reason why it's necessary to have these conversations. Because even if NAU comes tomorrow and says, okay, we found the money for you. Here's $4,000, go pay your rent. They still don't have a place. This is what I'm telling you. The number of people is relevant because the double whammy that they're facing isn't just a financial one. It is also that no one is going to rent you a place with 7 children, with 7 people total. So unless they had a plan of being able to build a place, which is very, very difficult to do right now, you know, this is where your decisions do matter. Yeah, okay, let's not think about the decisions they made in the past. But there are people who are sitting down right now who are in it. They're on baby number 1, and they're going to get to baby number 5 unless they understand the stark reality is you too could be a family of 7 with nowhere to go and no place to stay. And every day, it's getting harder and harder to be out in these streets. And it's unfortunate. It's not getting any easier for people with children. They don't even want people renting with dogs, much less children. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandra. How are you, my dear?
Not bad. How you doing?
I'm going to be brief. I'm okay. I'm going to be brief. But I will say this to you. This is a topic that goes far beyond what most people will understand. Let's just say this. Regardless of the 5 children, there are 7 humans involved in all of this. Regardless of the fact of how this family got to where they are, I will say this. Being in a position of being homeless is not a nice feeling to have.
Absolutely.
And I will say this to you. I have been there twice. And I'm going to ask this morning for you, on behalf of all of those people like this family and myself, you need to do a show on the DFA. You need to hear the stories, Sandra, okay? I will say this to you right now, with all that I am dealing with, that I have to deal with. I have 45 years of staying from the time my mom passed away, Sandra, that has never, ever been dealt with counseling. It has been attempted, Sandra, but there is so much trauma that I, as an individual, have been through, that where I have had to, at 12 years and months, Sandra, be a father and a mother. Cayman is going to hear this today, and I come from Cayman, to be a father and a mother to 2 children, one 2 years younger than you and one 2 years older than you, that when their mother passed away, she was the rock of the family. And yes, my siblings did all they could do for us, but lives move on. And my father was not there for me and my 2 other siblings. My father took to alcohol and smoking, Sandra. And I became a man at 12 years and months. And up to this day, Sandra, the conversation has never been had with me or any one of my siblings that I remember of how death of a mother affects a child. And Friday, I'm putting this out there because I have trauma in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I too have been homeless.
Mm-hmm.
I suffer from depression, and it was not found out till I was all the way in my 30s as to why I used to get angry all the time, why I had mood swings. My life, Sandra, since I became HIV positive, has been living hell in this country. And DFA, former NAU, is the problem because they do not care about what is happening to people like me in Cayman. I have reached out to the ministry in the last week, the Ministry of Social Development, because I have nothing to live with or from anymore. Because when I was cut off in 2018 looking for work, Sandra, I had to survive. And you know how I had to survive? Thank God there was pension there for me to survive on. But it is long gone. The last of it was taken during COVID. And nobody wants to employ someone who has depression, someone who's gay, and someone who's had to live in hell in this country for 13 years with HIV, where you're scorned, where you don't have but 2 family members out of a group of 7 family members, 1 dead, and you have 6 family members left living, scattered here and throughout the world, and only 2 speaks to you. I have 10 nieces and nephews, and I know 1 out of them, Sandra. I think it's almost 9 or 10 grandnieces and grandnephews. Thank God that niece had her life together, and she has 4 beautiful children, and they love me. 2 sisters love me. But when I tell you a story of how I have had to be treated by the people at NAU, and when I went to my pension, the gentleman at the pension, where it was, I'm not going to call the name, I leave that private, but told me I couldn't get my pension, Sandra. When I had to go to get access to live, and it was done under my HIV, and I went to the pension board, and the Caymanian lady told me, Chet, you can get your pension because you have to live and survive. Because NAU at the time said, go find work, and I was looking for work and couldn't find nothing. And I got a letter in 2018 telling me you've been cut off. And that was around the 15th of the month. And I had to figure out a way by the end of the month.
Leave me. Can you leave me there? Sorry, we're running out a little bit of time.
It is a story. You need to do something on DFA because I broke down last week 3 times on the phone with DFA, and people have promised to call, not with DFA, with the Minister of Social Development. And I have been promised to be called back. You want to tell how far this has gone? This has gone because I gave them an ultimatum. I want, with all that I'm dealing right now, I'm on the verge of a nervous breakdown. That's why I called them, because living conditions where I am and where I've had before is not ideal. I hate having to beg people for a room to live in, because that's how I live. I say a lot, but I have a lot that I've held back. And it's high time, because society has forgotten people like me. I have nobody to turn to besides myself. And I have had to be my rock all through my life. And Friday, I am starting counseling because I carry 45 years of baggage. I had to tell the people at the social development that Mr. Isaac is the minister for. I have had to tell them I am a broken human being. I feel like I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. And the only thing I have in my life is nature, Sandra. I keep to myself. And then all that, a couple of weeks ago, I had to call the police to go warn a Caymanian woman that owns a store down in hell to stop bothering me at public places. Stop hollering on the road at me about, hey, girl. All of this, all people don't know what people carry. Sandra, I'm a strong person. I'm a strong person. Why? Because I lost my mother at 12 and a half years old She got inhaled and got tetanus and died down here. And the Monday before my mother died, we, the three youngest, were to go and we didn't get to see her. It has never been dealt with. There is so much things I have to deal with. I'm scared, Sandra. And they sent the police to look for me. The police called me. And it is the only time that I can say, because I've been bashing the RCIPS for months about speeding and almost getting knocked down twice. This is the first time, Sandra, that I can actually, I picked up the phone and I called West and I spoke to the young man, and he's an E-Banks and he's a police officer. And I had called to him before about this music problem we were having in the neighborhood here. And he was who I got. And I said to him, I said, I can't do this right now. But I said, this is what I told the Department of the Minister of Social Development. I have done everything, Sandra, everything above and beyond what I have been asked to do since I have become HIV positive. And for me to have to go and beg people for a place to rent in their house when nobody even wants to rent to you, otherwise rent to someone with depression, HIV, and being gay. I have maybe 2 friends that I can call upon, but they have lives and I don't bother people. For people like me, Sandra, I have been lost in a system that does not work. And I am going to say this publicly, I have been told by a minister that is a minister now that wasn't a minister before, that the former government, that the government, some of the members now that got in, and when Mr. Andre was premier, that they wanted names of people in their constituencies that had problems like mine. And I'm putting this out there. I was told they were going to make us speak on the House of what was Parliament. Well, it's now, what was the Legislative Assembly? It's the House of Parliament now. All today, that minister, that person is a minister, and I have been forgotten about, okay? Forgotten about. Nobody came back to me on that. It took 10 years, Sandra, 10 years. 10 years of me and the young woman, Miss Laura Elinsky. She used to be in charge of the HIV program at the HSA.
My appointment just messaged me, Chet.
I know. You have to go.
I'm supposed to be there in 3 minutes.
This is a show for you. And it is so much. I'm going to leave it here. I have emails to back up everything I say because I got it in writing. But I have been through something.
I'm glad to hear that you signed up for counseling. So that's a step in the right direction.
It is not a nice place to be.
Yeah.
And they sent the police to me, but I have had to tell the Minister of Social Development, it's either you help me to get a place that is conducive so that I can survive with a little bit of dignity, but also so that I can go out and start to volunteer, because I want to give back. But it is a show for you to do.
I will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
much. And have a good day, Sandra.
Leave me there.
And thank you for all that you do. Please, I have to thank you.
Thank you,
have
my
a good
dear.
day.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
So I've got 2 minutes to be in town. I can't drive that fast. So let me go. Just 3 more comments, and then we can certainly pick up this conversation. Tomorrow's Friday, right? Getting help. Mental health help is the right thing to do if you find yourself suffering from depression. And yes, I'm not here to tell anybody that life is easy and that we don't have situational things that will bring us down. You have to deal with your problems. Problems don't resolve themselves. So if you're suffering from depression because of loss of a parent or whatever, get help. Chat, I know you, right? And I know a little bit about your journey. I'm not going to even say a whole lot. I know a little bit about your journey, and you have got to pull yourself up, get to the mental health professionals. Whatever solace you have in getting professional help, do that, because you've got to make sure that it all starts with your mindset. Few comments. This person said, we need to get away from this mindset that government is our safety net for all of our failures and poor decisions. Seriously, where do people think the money is going to come to fund this? Anyone ready to start giving the government income tax? I'll wait for the responses. It's like, okay, my apologies. I have a family of 7 with an income of less than $3,000 a month, and my in-laws kicked us out, but shaming our government for not fixing this mess. UCCI does GED. It takes 6 months. So, Mr. Walton, that answers that for you. And tell Brenda that the article stated that they lived with her in-laws, but they were told they couldn't stay there any longer. So basically the in-laws were the crutch before, and now they expect the government to pick up their slack. I mean, I don't know what the long-term solution is here, but for a family 7, it's going to be hard to find a place to rent, even if you had the money. Another person says, good morning. For fuck's sake, they'll be allergic to everything except opening their damn legs. They're not allergic to dick, though. I have heard that excuse so many times. I'm over it. They need to stop breeding for every Jamaican man that they say hello, that says hello to them. I said what I said. Everyone has experienced traumatic experiences over their lives. There's no excuse for making bad decisions. That is no excuse for making bad decisions in life. People need to start taking accountability and responsibility for their actions. The world owes no one a living. These situations are no longer the exception, but now the norm. And government/society cannot carry the burden of all. Final comment. I had 2 children, as I know that is all I could afford. I wanted a certain quality of life for me and my 2 children. I could only afford that with 2 children. I can afford a vacation for 3. I can afford a dinner for 3. It's unfair to these children, and they cannot be responsible for the poor choices of the adults. The adults responsible for them. I wonder if people realize that NAU is not a permanent solution. It is meant as a temporary solution. And the person said it, sorry, typo, ICCI has a program, not UCCI, for GED. So no easy, solutions here. And listen, we can all come together. We'll continue the conversation on tomorrow's program. I would like for this young lady to come on the program and answer some of the questions that we have. And I'm happy to try to help. But like I said, the money isn't even the problem. Because if you find them a place and they've got, like, how many of you would be willing to donate into a fund every single month for this family to be able to afford a place to stay? Let's ask that question tomorrow. Remind me of the question when we start the show. How many of you would be willing to do that? And if you do that, then the second question is, how many of you have a place that a family of 7 can rent from you? Step up to the plate, right? I'm here to ask questions because I think we need to understand exactly how people got here. Those are the types of questions that we were addressing this morning, and we're trying to figure out, we're trying to ask or to have answered, right? But the bigger question is, step up to the plate. Who has a place for 7? I don't. I can tell you, I don't have a place for them to stay. I'm willing to give a donation, but I don't have a place for them to stay. So giving a donation in lieu of, yep, that's a good idea, Roseanne. Giving a donation in lieu of a place to stay does what? They need permanent housing, which means now I have a question. They would qualify if they meet all the criteria. They would actually qualify for government housing. Have they applied for government housing? You see, these are the questions that, as a journalist, DFA is a temporary solution. That's not permanent. Having a house of your own is permanent. Have you applied to the National Housing Trust for a place to stay? Because you qualify, because you only make $3,000 a month or less than $3,000. But are you going to be able to pay a mortgage? Because you see, with the national housing, a bank has to qualify you, not just national housing. My apologies. And so what bank is going to qualify you for that? The GG Ham program, which was the government guaranteed housing. That's something that has been on the back burner now. The last government did not, quite a few governments now, have not been able to bring it back. This current government has said that they will do so. Oh God, sorry. My throat's a little dry, but so my question then is, Let's get the Gigi Ham program back alive and going. But even that, you still have to qualify with a bank. Yes, government is going to guarantee the loan, but you have to meet minimum qualifications. They have to see that you're going to be able to pay the mortgage. Now, any of you not going to sit there for 20 years and help you pay mortgage. So you can't qualify and say, oh, yes, I'm on NAU and they're going to help me. No, you would not meet the criteria. So we need a permanent solution and permanent housing. Tomorrow, let's talk about what the permanent solutions are to a problem like this. So we're here now. Like I said, we can't put the children back. We can't undo all of the mistakes, right? They've gotten here. What's the solution? Who has land and a house that they're willing to donate to this family or build a house? Do they have family that has property adjacent to their property that they can build something on? Let's figure that out tomorrow. Tune in. All right, we will get there. All right. So Damien says, how about volunteers to look after the children so that she can work? Again, you got to be careful who you leave children with, but who's going to volunteer to mind somebody's children? Damien, you up for it? You got a couple hours. Maybe she's got some boys that you can spend some time with. Again, we have to vet people because I don't want random people minding your children because you know what I'm saying? You can't have that either. It has to be a safe environment. What after school programs can the kids get into, et cetera, et cetera. I'm telling you, it's infinitely more difficult and challenging when you have 5 children to figure that out for, as opposed to 1 or 2. Because now you got to get not 1 or 2 volunteers, but potentially 5 volunteers, 5 different after school programs or whatever to help out your kids. It's not going to be easy, but I got to run out the door because I'm out here hustling in these streets just like everybody else. Because I got bills to pay and I don't have no excuses. Nobody's going to give me an excuse and be like, you only got 1. So you better try and find that money to pay your bills. It is what it is. It is tough out here. It is not easy. And so, yes, this family is now where they are. But we can't help them to go forward without, like I said, we can't just give them a handout. We have to be prepared to say, maybe you all also need to make some better decisions. They said they had an apartment, but something happened to that. What happened? If they find a place, is that new landlord able to call the old landlord and say, right, can I get a reference? And are they going to get a good reference? You see, all these things matter. You are a product today of all of the decisions that you've been making consistently in your life. We've all made poor decisions. But if the majority of your decisions have been poor decisions, you're going to find that less and less people are going to help you. And we need to talk about that on The Real. Tomorrow's show, 7:30 a.m. We'll jump right into it. See you guys later on. I got to run. Goodbye.